Hey guys, as my last assignment, I am posting a video reflecting on my final thoughts of EDM 310. It is composed of 6 main thoughts: what I've learned, what I've not learned, what I'm going to take with me, what I'll abandon, what I want to use, what I liked, and what I disliked. I can honestly say that when I enrolled in EDM 310, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I expected it to just be another typical education class, which honestly would not be too much of a challenge. I had already taken several media classes in high school and expected to work on Microsoft projects such as Word and PowerPoint and simple things as that. I couldn't have been more wrong. I was in for such a big surprise when I walked in class that first day with Dr. Strange. I remember freaking out when I walked into his class on that first day. 9 hours of weep was what it took. It was over and over, written everywhere, the big purple 9 on the front of the page. I just remember I was freaking out, thinking, there's no way. I heard him say it constantly and could tell that he was absolutely serious. I honestly thought he had lost it. I remember looking at my first few weeks and thinking there is absolutely no way I can do this. Once again, I was so wrong. Although there were many times that I wanted to quit and drop the class, I knew that I had to take it to graduate, so I kept going. At first, I was so irritated with the class, and so my work was far from perfect. However, as the weeks went on, I started to realize just how many useful things were being learned. And now for my 6 main points. First, I will talk about what I've learned. I honestly don't even know where to begin. I have learned so many useful things here. I've learned how to use podcasts, PLNs, Glogster, Google products, blogs, Twitter, and my Mac efficiently, and much, much more. I've also learned what it means to be an eternal learner, and actually to learn things instead of just memorizing them. I have learned the meaning of the quote, "Education turns an empty mind into an open one," because I definitely have much more of an open mind on methods of education after this class. What I've not learned in EDM 310. In EDM 310, I did not learn useless facts. I didn't learn what is typical to be learned in a technological classroom. I didn't learn Word, PowerPoint, or any other thing I've been taught millions of times. I didn't learn to regurgitate facts, which is good because after being in grade school for 12 years, I had become a pro at that. I didn't learn how to fake work to get by because that's really not possible in EDM 310. Everything I didn't learn is another plus to the class. What I'll take with me. Now for what I'll take with me, where do I even start? I will take with me this new approach to learning. I will take my newly organized PLN. I will take my ideas of teaching and many of the new ideas of EDM 310. I will take with me the idea that I can get through any class I'll have to take in the next few years. I will take the new responsible work methods instead of my general procrastination. And what I will abandon. I have abandoned burnt-back education, as Dr. Strange would say. For 12 years, I sat in a classroom where we learned fact after fact after fact. I do not remember half of what I learned. I remember sitting in the classrooms being bored, and even through high school and even in my classes now, still learning facts that I know I'm never going to use again or never going to remember to use. I've abandoned a closed mind and will now be open to new ideas in the field of education. I'll abandon the idea that I can't pass a class, because if I can pass EDM 310, I can accomplish any other education class. Now what I want to use. I want to continue to use my PLN. I'm so used to it now that I don't think I could go without the handy little tool. I want to use podcasts and iTunes. I'd heard of them before, but I'd never really used anything like iTunes U until I came into the class and did a collaborative project with it. I want to use Glogster because it's just a really cool tool that you can use instead of using like some of the older methods of teaching, like poster boards. It's something that these new kids that are used to computers and such are really going to enjoy. I'm going to use YouTube and know that it's something you can actually use for education, which kind of goes the same for Twitter. And most of all, I'm going to keep using my blog. And one of my favorite things of EDM 310 was comments for kids. So I would really like to have a blog in my classroom because I could tell that the kids were really excited about learning, and it really got their parents involved and just other people in the community involved. And I think that was just something really great that I'd like to use in my class. So these are some of the pieces of EDM 310 that I found most useful. What I really liked that I was learning something entirely new. In classes, I was a straight A student growing up, and I remember that I would get so bored because I felt like it was things that I already knew, and so I really like that these are things that I didn't know and I'm learning and can help other students to learn. When I went home for the weekend, I was like a little kid. I was proud to show my parents my work and my blog, and they were actually pretty amazed by it. I like that I learned to use all of the applications on my Mac. I was a new Mac user, and I really didn't even know how to use my own computer. So now I feel like I'm actually getting my money's worth. I liked the EDM 310 staff. They were so incredibly helpful, and you could tell they really want us to learn. I could generally email Dr. Strange or Allie or Anthony, and I would get a reply in less than 24 hours, which is very rare for most teachers. What I disliked, I have to admit that I did dislike the amount of time asked of me, but I mean, I have spent more time on this class all semester than any other of my even more challenging classes. However, I know that I've learned so many things that have been useful in this class, and I will continue to use them in the future. So, hopefully, it's just taught me to be a little more efficient. I now know that I'm going into the right field. I have a heart for learning and a desire to give children knowledge at their fingertips, which is exactly what technology in the classroom does. I enjoy learning, especially when it's something new. I've been blown away by this class, and I think that many people in the future will be too. Once you get over the shock of how much work it takes, you see that there's a lot of things that you learn that you're really going to keep using. And finally, to Dr. Strange, you have been such an inspiration to me as a future educator. I can see it in everything you do that you have a true desire to see the ways of education change, and by all means, they absolutely need to. You have introduced us to so many educators who have shown a true desire to educate others as well as themselves. Thanks to this class, I know I will be a lifelong learner and a supporter of EDM 310's new form of learning. Thanks, guys. I have officially survived EDM 310 in my first full year of college. Thank you so much for making that happen and for helping me to become a much better future educator.